Hello and welcome to this review of Halloween Ends. I'm Josh.
I'm Billy.
So, Halloween ended. So, happy festive day, right? Yeah?
Yeah, I mean, it ended.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way.
It did. I mean, we're going to get into spoilers, but I think just starting out for people who haven't seen it, maybe just give some non-spoilers and then we'll get into it. Because
Okay.
I just saw it last night. It's kind of fresh still, but I've been able to digest it a little bit. You saw it a few days ago, right?
Yeah, I saw it on Saturday night, so it probably not be like as fresh.
Yeah.
But I can pretty much remember the vast majority of it. So
Good.
So
I'll try to help you
Okay.
out. Because I missed a few things. I read up on all kinds of Easter eggs today, just trying to take it all in. Because I only get to see it once. You only saw it once too, right?
I saw it just the one time.
Yeah.
That probably will be it.
Oh, it was that good. This is the 13th film in the franchise.
Yeah.
Pretty crazy. Although it's its own thing. It's basically the trilogy since 2018 with the original. It's very someone did a great timeline. You know how Marvel has multiverses?
Yep.
Someone did a great multiverse for the Halloween whole franchise.
That'd be
So it's really cool. I might maybe I'll put an image in this recording of it.
A different Michael Myers and different kind of
It's cool, like
universes.
yeah, because like one is so cool.
Because you have the 1 and 2, and then this
Through the 6.
That's
one universe.
We have 1 and 2,
Right.
and then you have the Halloween Kills, Halloween Ends franchise.
Yeah, the current one.
The current one. So you have that franchise,
Yeah.
and then you have like the 3 by itself. Really.
Yeah.
So you have the Seasons of Witch type of universe.
Right.
Then you have the new Michael Myers 4, 5, and 6,
Right.
and maybe up to H2O. Maybe
H2O like erased the last 3 movies basically.
Yeah.
They honored the first 2 and then they had Resurrection and then it died and then Rob Zombie resurrected it.
But even H2O and Resurrection aren't part of the story either. So
It's in one timeline it's so crazy. I mean, it's not as hard to follow as other franchises that are out there that are kind of messed up.
is it because of Jamie Lee Curtis is in it? Is that why it's kind of
there's a great history with H2O. She had the idea initially and she shared it with John Carpenter and Deborah Hill. They liked it, but it didn't work out with them to be involved at that time. So she kind of got stuck with it. And so she produced it, I believe. And she just wanted to kill him. That's it. Wanted to kill him off. And then
that's
there was like
where
a clause in the contract. Or they had to like, in a way, like, it ended with them not wanting to kill him. And she said, okay, if I'm coming back one more time, I want to die right away. And that's it.
and she pretty much did.
Yeah, she did. Yeah.
'Cause I thought that when they finished H2O,
Yeah.
I thought that was it because we thought
Yeah.
that when she chopped the guy's head off, that it was him.
Right.
But then when they brought it back in Resurrection, they showed
Yeah.
what had happened. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
So then I thought Resurrection was going to be fine.
Yeah.
And then
It's just weird. Like H2O and 2018 are so similar in many ways. Both characters are returning to the franchise after many years away. Although the H2O, she left Haddonfield, right? That's
Right.
the town.
Yep.
Became a teacher, changed her name.
Yep.
And then this one, she stayed in town, was kind of like not really dealt with, like psychologically. They just kind of left her alone.
Well, right.
And
she just kind of moved out into the country somewhere and
yeah,
kind of did
she
her
just-
her own thing. So yeah.
And I think that was a unique take. I mean, before this film, how are you liking the trilogy? I know we reviewed Kills last year.
Kills,
crazy.
I love Kills.
Yeah.
And I loved when they brought back Halloween.
Yeah.
So when they did that and Kills, I was like ecstatic.
Yeah.
I was all for that because they had basically just, the chemistry with, Jamie Lee Curtis. And then they brought back some of the old people from back in the 78 version.
Yeah.
So of course they've all aged, but some of them came back.
Mm-hmm.
Those who weren't killed off. And I was pretty happy that they did that.
Yeah.
And then when they said they're going to have a third one, I'm like, okay, well, and it's called Halloween Ends. I'm like, well, okay, you can kind of figure out how that's going to go. Is it going to be, is Laurie going to die? Is Michael going to die? Are they going to kill each other?
Yeah.
Is it the only way he can die that she has to die? It's just all sorts of stuff.
Well, that's the thing. Kills, like, they really went for the supernatural in Kills.
Yeah.
Big time. And so I was like, how are they going to deal with this for the third one? But because it doesn't seem like there's enough ground to cover right yet, because you would think you get into like, kind of like the, this new trilogy kind of throws back to a lot of the good and bad of the original Halloween films, the sequels that followed. Yep. You've got like he vanishes for a few years. Yep. And someone else may or may not take up the mantle.
I always wondered, like, in the story, how Michael Myers always, gets defeated for whatever, how long. Yeah. I always wondered what, in theory, what the Michael Myers character does.
Yeah.
And during that time, is he hiding out in a cave somewhere, eating rats?
Does he like to go fishing?
Does he go fishing?
Does he go Hawaii? I
always wondered.
Yeah, where's he go?
Where does he go for a couple of years? And
even this movie, 3 years, like
takes the bullets out of him and heals out. I
guess, right? He just puts his fingers in his ears and blows, and they just fling everywhere. Yeah. So going into this, what were there any concerns before? Like, how are they going to top this, or how are they going to explain this? Because they definitely went full throttle with supernatural. Laurie's daughter gets killed.
Yeah. Well, because I liked how they, they had, this big thing that, Michael is like going up against the entire town.
Yeah, and it made you feel safe. It made me feel safe anyway. I was like, ha ha, we got you, Michael.
Yeah, and then he starts hacking everybody off.
Evil dies tonight,
when they did that, because they had never done it before.
Yeah.
There's usually this, he kill off one person at a time or two people at a time, but he's going up against the entire town. Here he goes, just taking his knife, and he's just going after everybody.
Yeah.
And no one's been able to take him down because he'll slice their throat before they even, get a finger on him.
Especially at the end. Like,
so, I mean, it was awesome how they did that. And I did have concerns on how they're going to top it.
Yeah.
But I thought that, when they brought back Ends, that it was going to be somewhat like that in a way.
Yeah.
And then kind of, okay, if this is going to be the true death of Laurie Strode or Michael Myers, the whole town can probably do away with him in some form.
Right.
If Laurie's there and she's got a knife in her, he's got a knife in him, it's pretty much going to be probably the Michael Myers character that they can actually take him and do whatever with his body.
Right.
That's why I thought that, that could probably happen.
Right.
So that's
Did you imagine a time jump like they did?
No, because I thought it was going to be more of like
same
right,
night,
right after, or maybe maybe a year and maybe a year later. I don't know, but I thought it was going to be more of a continuation of how 1 and 2 were pretty much the same night. I thought it was going to be kind of the same way.
Yeah.
That they were going to leave off with kills and then kind of go from there.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like the kills mimicked Halloween 2 also. They're all in the hospital. Even Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 goes to a hospital, doesn't it? Like,
it must be a hospital.
They
they could have just kept with that. And I know that Michael had killed Laurie's daughter in the last one.
Yeah.
So if that was going to be it there, then it was showing him like at the window, like to begin with, show him at the window, and just kind of go from there. And then, Laurie runs to hide somewhere, separate booby traps, whatever she was going to do. So that's why I thought something like that was going to happen.
Right. And I get the time jump in a way because she had to heal. She tried in the last one and it was pretty bad. Like she was in a hallway just bleeding out.
Yeah.
And then her boyfriend, sheriff guy, was, recovering himself.
Yeah.
This whole trilogy's been directed by David Gordon Green. He just announced they're doing an Exorcist, similar thing to The Exorcist. They're bringing back Ellen Burstyn, who was the mom, to...
I didn't even know she was still alive, honestly.
Well, she's in her 80s, I think. Okay. So I don't know if... I really would hate them to mimic Laurie's story. Like, oh, here's another woman who's been...
Don't do
like,
that.
you can't... Because, I don't know if you ever saw it. The recent Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie, it was on Netflix.
No.
They tried to do the same thing. They had the character from the first one. I don't think it was the same actress, but they were copying basically the Laurie Strode's, like all these years later, and I don't think it worked out too well.
Right.
But I don't know what they're doing with the Exorcist thing.
It's probably why it's on Netflix.
But he, along with Danny McBride, wrote these films. And just, I think before we go into spoilers, we'll just, end it with, everyone out there, I guess, pros and cons of this film, Halloween Ends. Non-spoiler, if you can, real quick. And then if you recommend seeing it or not, I guess.
The pros for me, I mean, it was, obviously pro and con, really. It's kind of the end of an era.
Yeah.
It's, this Michael Myers character plus Laurie Strode, it's been going on since before we were born. So, I mean, it's been a long time.
Yeah.
And at some point, it's got to end.
Right.
So that's kind of a con, but kind of a pro as well, too. Trying to go out with a bang in some form.
Yeah.
I mean, the movie wasn't terrible. I just thought that it would be a little more in depth with a few things. Maybe part of the backstory, or how, and Michael became how he was, and through just all the years, and how what generated him to do all this for the most part.
Right.
I thought it would be more of like a beginning and like flashback type of thing of what was going on over all these years, and why he did what he did, and all type of stuff.
I dug that flashback from the last one with the sheriff. I thought that was kind of cool how they did that. Yeah.
So I thought that maybe it would be something like that as well too.
Yeah.
Because usually with a lot of shows and movies, especially when it comes to large franchises, they usually have some kind of flash or some kind of thing that kind of built up to that moment. So that's why I was hoping. So that's kind of a con that I was kind of hoping that would have happened to solidify the end of the whole thing.
Right.
So.
Right. And then do you recommend it?
It's
certainly not the worst Halloween, right?
It's certainly not the worst one. No, not by far. I recommend seeing it. Everyone's going to have their opinion about how it is.
Yeah.
I saw reviews on it before and after that I watched the movie. People were saying, I love it, I love it, I love it. And I think it's because, with Jamie Lee Curtis, you can't really hate a Jamie Lee Curtis movie, honestly.
Right.
So I think that's part of the reason why a lot of people loved it in a way, and it's kind of come back as this Laurie Strode badass, like she always has been.
Right.
So I would recommend to see it. But everyone's going to have their opinion of how it goes. So
yeah, I recommend seeing it, especially if you are invested in this trilogy. If you've seen the last two, you might as well just see the conclusion to it. You may not love it as much, but it's not a horrible film. But there is a lot of things I wish they would have tackled more, kind of things they set up and they didn't pay off too much. They asked a lot, it was kind of convoluted in parts, I thought too, but I mean, a lot of it I kind of got in my own head without them saying it. So I don't know if that's just the writing being a little clever there or not. There's just a lot of interpretations. I think this movie will definitely have people talk a lot about it and think about, did I see that? Whatever. Were they going for that? So I mean, it definitely is not one of those forgettable ones right away, for sure. But I think the trilogy as a whole is pretty solid. I mean, look, Dark Knight Rises wasn't a great high note to end on either. So.
No, it wasn't.
So
you have the area where you have like some really good parts of it, but then some of it probably didn't need to be there.
Right.
So,
I mean, they've got each one in this trilogy to me has dipped a little bit more than the 2018. Obviously, I love the 78.
Yeah.
That's my favorite. That's a classic.
However, I am glad that they stuck with that storyline in a way. Because some of the others, they were okay, but they were some were a little bit cheesier, and there was no,
especially with the masks.
With the mask,
because the budgets were so cheap.
So the masks back then were a little bit different. So the 1, 2, and then this, I'm not sure if it's the same sort, because obviously it's crusted, it's gotten burned, it's got all that type of stuff over time.
Yeah.
But some of the masks that they had, the hair is either got spiky hair, or it's it's
it had eyebrows at one time.
It's slicked back. It's got eyebrows.
Oh, I was bad.
H2O.
You'll go look back. You're like, that looks ridiculous now.
So
compared to this new one. Yeah.
So I'm just glad that
Right.
overall that the story was told in this fashion.
I think this trilogy had more heart than the other follow-up films in many ways. They were really trying to honor the original, but also do something new. But like, the aesthetic was pretty much the same. It was still like they're trying to have it be a Carpenter universe in a way. A lot of nods, a lot of callbacks to even the movies they don't want to count as canon. Halloween 3, for instance, there's a lot of callbacks throughout, I think, all these films and similar themes in many ways. But yeah, it's shot well, great cast, fun kills, I would say. Kills are pretty fun, very gory.
Yeah.
I think a con would be it's not, and I mean, this is from me, and I'm not a huge scary movie fan. Like, I'd love to be, but sometimes I push myself to watch like this one and stuff, like the popular ones, but I didn't find it too scary. It was more suspenseful to me.
Yeah.
So I think that'd be a con there, but I still recommend seeing it. You can go see it in theaters and on Peacock. And if you know somebody, like I do, they'll let you watch it. So thank you, anonymous person, Billy.
Oh, no problem.
I said anonymous.
Oh,
I did say Billy, though, didn't I?
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah.
Oops. All right. Well, here comes the lawsuit. But yeah, with that, we're gonna go into spoiler territory. So beware. Where do you want to start?
I mean, I guess you could start from the beginning. Just kind of, like I said, it's probably not gonna be as fresh in my mind. So bear with me.
Was this spoiled for you though? This kid, this new character.
Yes.
Okay. I didn't know everything, but I knew like there was clips of Jamie Lee or Laurie saying, he's like Michael. He's going down that road and telling Allison you should back off.
Well, what I don't understand is that the beginning part of the movie, he's babysitting. So I'm like, okay, cool. I thought maybe that since he was babysitting, that this is where Michael Pye comes into play or whatever.
Right.
And he plays hide and seek with this kid, or actually, well,
he's kind of an asshole. This kid's kind of an asshole.
He is. And all of a sudden, he's like locked him in the closet.
Yeah.
Okay, whatever. And then the guy's kicking the door, and then kicks the door open. Kid falls over the banister and dies. I don't know why that was put in there.
It's so brutal too. Yeah, they do not shy away from. It's bad,
right? But
like it's almost funny at first because it seems like there's silence, and then you see the parents, and then kid just falls.
Yeah,
bonk. And then he comes up and he's like, "Blah."
He almost reminds me in a way of Addams Family Values when the baby falls out of the and it just falls right into Gomez's arms. But
as a parent, that's kind of hard.
Yeah, it's kind of hard. But
like I could feel this. I could sense that this kid was gonna die probably, and I was like, "Please don't kill this kid."
But I thought if anything, it would be. Yeah, maybe Michael Myers was having to get into the house or whatever because he's back and just started.
Because the knife is gone.
Because I thought that maybe again that this would have kind of flowed from from the last one into this one. Right. So when that happened, the kid falls over the banister, dies, and I immediately asked myself, "Why is this in here?"
Yeah.
And then you move on.
Yeah.
And, everyone hates the guy because of what happened.
I get it, yeah.
And, okay. But I don't understand. If the character's going to be in there, I can understand that. But I don't understand why most of the movie was about him.
Yeah, like I was saying before we recorded, it's almost like a fourth movie to this trilogy where Michael's dead. We got to move on. We got to find another boogeyman.
The thing is, the guy killed the kid on accident. Michael Myers killed his sister on purpose.
Right.
So, right. And then all of a sudden, the guy just goes nuts.
Right. Because he is kind of killed and reborn in a way, like symbolically, like when those people throw him off the bridge. Like he doesn't move, I don't think. Michael pulls him in. I'm not saying this is exactly what happened, but it's kind of, to me, it was symbolic. Like Michael brought him into his womb in a way and then birthed out young Michael.
Right.
Michael 2.0. And because there's that. So I guess according to the homeless guy, Michael brings people in there, kills them, right? Okay. So this kid, he decided, I'm going to leave him here. And then when he gets up, I'm going to put my hand out and grab him.
Right.
And then there's that
flashback, like he's seen like everything that what happens.
Yeah. Did you kind of get from that Michael was putting evil into him, sort of?
Maybe because
like a transfer
in a way, because he was like he could see
his
into his mind.
Yes.
Of what happened to that kid.
Yeah, and then he freaks out,
and then he lets him go. He's like, "Oh, okay,
right."
So maybe the supernatural power or whatever that Michael had inside. That's probably what made him go nuts.
This trilogy, like, it wants to be real, but at the same time, there's these supernatural elements. Like looking at kills, like. They beat him, they shot him, they stabbed him, and he still got up and killed like everybody.
Yeah.
So as that ended, I was like, how are they going to address that? And they don't really do that again. It's all like your interpretation. And that's what I got. When they locked eyes, Michael was like, I sense evil in you. And then maybe I give you extra power or what. I don't know.
But the thing is that, okay, Michael grabs his shirt and pulls him to the wall and he sees the vision. After that, he's weakened. It's like he's weakened because when he comes out from behind the wall or whatever,
right,
he's stumbling around like an old man that he can't move.
Yeah,
and the kid goes in there and steals his mask. Well, actually, he brings,
after everything,
he brings the cop in because the cop was getting on him, so he decided to follow him in there. Michael's weakened for whatever, and then he stabs the guy, and it's like it reminds me of. Nightmare on Elm Street 3 when Freddy kills one of the teenagers.
Yeah.
But he has like instead of the knives he has needles. Yes. And he sticks it in her arm. He goes, "Ooh, what a rush."
Yeah.
Well, when Michael stabbed that guy, he started shaking. Like like the kill was energizing him.
Yeah.
And for him to not be weak anymore. Because after that, he wasn't walking around like an old guy,
right? And I almost expected like his bones to start going back into place, like all this shit, because he was like hunched over. Because at the end of Kills, he looked fine.
Yeah.
So it's like, what happened between then and now? I mean, yeah, he's like an 80-year-old man in this world, and he's been hiding in this sewer, or whatever the hell it is.
For 4 years or 3 or 4 years.
But my question, like, I got that he was getting like his power back from killing, but according to homeless guy, and the homeless guy is crazy. But he's brought in people in there before and did the same. So how come that didn't generate his power? Or did he transfer some of his power
into
this Corey kid? Because, you know what I mean? It's like, it's not said. It's like your own interpretation. But that father of Jeremy, the kid, all this time, he just happened to pick this time when this guy turns to look into his eyes. And that's when he's like, I didn't see Corey anymore.
Right.
And it's like, all right, just like all of a sudden everything's like we're just gonna happen to focus on him right now,
right?
And it's like, oh, something else is there.
But when he went back in there and he stole Michael's mask, and Michael is weakened,
right?
And because he pulls it off, and Michael can't stop him.
Yeah,
I mean, he just rips. He's like,
he tries. They go at it pretty good,
and they go at it, but he kicks the crap out of Michael, and. I mean, this scrawny kid beats the crap out of a serial killer who's 80 years old, but seems to get around pretty well.
Right.
And then he goes out, and this is where everything starts to change.
Escalate big time.
And you have Laurie's granddaughter who's like falling in love with this guy.
Which was only in a course of what, 2-3 days?
Something.
It's so fast.
Yeah. So
it's just, it works in a way. Like, I've seen worse rushed relationships in films, right? But this is like, I don't know, it's almost like Allison's kind of going dark in a way, too. And yeah, it's so
she's
weird.
Like going dark because, her mother was killed.
Right.
And so now she's like, like her attraction to this Corey kid is, forming. And it's like she's becoming like almost like a Mrs. Michael or another descendant of Michael Myers in a way. Right. She didn't do any of the killing. But yet because
she slept with him when he was evil, pretty much. So, she's pregnant. There you go. Fuck.
There you go.
It's gonna come out like
it's kind of like the Seed of Chucky.
Yeah.
Which was dumb.
Boy, that would be a turn, wouldn't it?
So I mean, it was that part. He went around killing people that that wronged him.
And her, right?
And her,
the doctor and the nurse.
So
yeah.
but he's using Michael's mask, and so he was using the Michael Myers,
Right.
thing to kill people.
Right.
I thought maybe what could have happened, and I just just making this up just within the last 45 seconds.
Maybe they did too.
They probably did. So it's probably been planned for a couple of years. But what I thought maybe was that maybe the people that were doing them wrong, Michael would come out, but they would lead him to them.
Yeah.
And then he would take care of the business of,
right.
or whatever. So basically it's like they're using Michael as, as their safety net, and then he can go around and killing everybody else.
Right.
But then in the end, Michael's like, okay, you're using me for this, so I'm going to kill you.
Right.
So I thought maybe that'd be something like that as well too. So that could be, and I'm not a director, I'm not a movie maker, but it's just something I just came up with, and probably makes more sense than what just happened. But
well, yeah, they shove a lot into this film.
They shove a lot in,
and especially with the character development, there's not a lot of time to focus on Michael more. It's just like this guy, we're just,
and it's like Michael is like yesterday's news,
right?
And
it's a joke kind of, because in the beginning, wasn't the kid was joking about Michael, or the parents were, or some shit. When Corey was babysitting, it was like, "Are you worried about Michael Myers?" It was like a year later from all the events before, because the first two are like same night,
right?
Which is crazy, but it is. And this Corey kid almost felt like they should have handled him kind of like Darth Vader. He should have been from the get-go in this trilogy.
Okay, then you're going with the Star Wars thing, which I don't even get, so go ahead.
Well, I mean, just basically a gradual descent into evil versus like, boom, I'm evil.
Boom, like within a couple of days, I'm evil and out killing people.
The 2019 incident started things, but that was a total accident. And he clearly had issues. There's a scene where his mom actually like kisses him on the lips real quick. And I think that might be something they didn't touch upon, but basically, he was from a messed up home. His stepdad seemed like a nice guy.
Yeah.
He owned the salvage yard. Which do you think he would have? You think Corey would have killed his stepdad? Hadn't the he's not even a jock. He's a band dude leader. Shot him.
I don't know,
because he got up. He kind of blocked the shot. His stepdad actually saved Corey's life. He sacrificed himself, I think, looking back, because he saw the gun pointed at Corey, and so he stood up real quick in front of Corey and got killed. So I don't know, maybe not, but I mean, this movie's like open to an interpretation by anybody, really. You know, there's just so much on it, but it was I still had it was still entertaining. Like I told you, I meant to just watch some of it. I ended up watching the whole thing. I was trying to get to bed early, before work. But it played pretty smoothly. It wasn't a satisfying ending to this trilogy. Mm-hmm. But like I said, if it was like the fourth movie after the trilogy, the continuation, I think would have been really cool. I don't know. It's just a lot of things are rushed. Laurie is like, I know she's gotten therapy as a character. I think she's on some good medication, because she's just like into Halloween and just holidays. I think she's just trying to make up for lost time. Right. Like she's trying to channel her younger self, like we saw in the original Halloween. Right. So I get that. But yeah, she's telling her granddaughter, "You want to find someone that makes you want to rip off your shirt and show your tits or something?" Yeah. Like, damn, this is a departure.
That's Jamie Lee that we know.
Oh shit, yeah. But that was just so rushed. That whole relationship,
it was a rush.
Yeah,
and then when you get to the point where they show the part where she's in her kitchen and she's pointing the gun, and she's like, I thought that the gun was being pointed at Michael, that she's going to shoot the crap out of him like they have in the past. Yeah. And that way they could have because they have the shooting. Yeah. And then you see him throwing her over the island and all type of stuff. I'm like, oh, okay, here's the battle. Yeah. Here's the battle. But unfortunately, the Corey kid is the one that gets shot. Right. And I'm like, God.
I was waiting for him to become immortal like Michael. Well, Michael's not immortal. He just can't be, like, he ages, but he can't die. So the Corey kid had that cut from when he gripped that bottle.
And then it healed.
Did it heal? It was infected.
Well, it was infected, but I think because when he pulled off the bandage, I think it partially healed, or he had a scar.
Right.
So I don't think so. Maybe some of that,
because his first brutal killing was that doctor, and he had the scarecrow mask on, like from the party.
Yep.
And he kept stabbing him. And then when Michael, it's like he's like a young cub to Michael, because Michael was killing that nurse, and he wanted to get in. And then that's when he took his bandage off, and that's when I thought, is he becoming powerful? But then,
to me, it looked like it was partially healed.
Right.
To me, it did.
Yeah, well, that's possible, because then Allison, when they're on top of the radio station, she looks at it and she says it's infected, which could mean evil. You know, not what she meant, but yeah, it just has a lot of symbolic things in it, and it's kind of clever, I think, in a way, but still, I don't know. I get they really couldn't go for explanation as why Michael's this way in the third film,
right?
Because like you had that time, you probably could have jammed 1 and 2 together, and then a film in the middle could have addressed the whole supernatural elements, the whole mystery to it. But yeah, I get they're trying to mimic Corey's story with Michael's, but like you said, Michael flat out killed his sister. Corey it was accidental, and I thought they would touch upon. He got freaked out in the dark upstairs. So, I mean, it just might be a normal thing. People are afraid of the dark, but it could be a way into how he was raised. Maybe that's how he was punished or something. But yeah, when he flips, that's for sure. But yeah, that's my other complaint. The trailer gave a lot of things away.
It gave a lot of things away, but
the whole double cross, like when Lori says she's going to kill herself, she calls that in, and she walks over, and then the door opens, and then she's right there with the gun. That would have been a cool surprise.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then you really think I was going to kill myself. And then there would have been, okay, there's the final battle right there. Okay, you really thought I was going to kill myself. I've been waiting for you this whole time.
Right.
You know, let's go.
Yeah.
And, you know, she shoots the guy, and she's like, I've been treating you like this and blah, blah, blah. You know, thinking I've been trying to help you. You didn't want my help.
Yeah.
And then the dummy stabs himself in the neck.
Hey, he's not predictable.
He's not
if
predictable.
I can't have her, no one can.
Which that didn't make sense to me at all.
It didn't really, did it?
No.
And why would Allison, after knowing his kid for 3 days, want to just ditch everything, leave everything behind, and go with him?
Well, maybe they knew each other for longer, but I think their relationship itself, started up really fast or whatever.
I mean, that's possible, because they kind of seem to. They're kind of roughly this. Well, she was probably a senior in the first one. He's 21 in 2019. So he could have been like a class or two ahead of her, and they could have known each other.
It's possible.
They never established it, though. No. Again, it's all your own interpretation.
So
perhaps it makes it a better film that way. Because
I mean, you say, you know, if I can't have no one well, and then he stabs himself in the neck, and then that made no sense whatsoever. And then you have Michael showing up. Michael finishes the job on him.
Right.
And then, you know, then all hell breaks loose between those two.
Yeah.
And then once you get to the final battle, and she's like, you know, she's stabbing his hand and almost like crucifying him.
Cutting all his major arteries.
The table. Cut all his major arteries, the neck, the wrist, everything. So he's bleeding out.
So that whole mob missed those areas, apparently.
Yeah, apparently. So they stabbed him, everything else, but they didn't get the main arteries.
Lori's like, a pin, you're dead. Like, so wait, what?
So he's laying on the table, and he's got like knives all through his hand and all type of stuff, and he's slit everywhere that you can be slit at.
Yep.
She pulls the mask
bleeding
off.
out. Yep.
I thought that we would finally see at least an old man, Michael. Yeah. You see part of his face, and then a gray piece of like
peach
goatee.
fuzz. Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, come on. I mean, I know after all these years, we haven't really seen Michael's face. We saw a glimpse of it in the first one.
The 2018 or the first? Oh, yeah, the original.
The original.
Yeah.
And then the other ones didn't really have his face so much. You may have saw like the back of his head or something like that.
I've seen the actor done up who's like plays Michael from the first one at least. And he's got like a disfigured eye like he did.
Yeah.
So they pretty much honor what we saw before, except he's much older guy.
Yeah,
he's like in his 80s.
So I thought that when she pulled the mask off, and like we can finally see him
Yeah.
he'll probably have a mangled face because after all the burns and bullets and everything else that he's had.
He doesn't use skincare. That's for sure.
So that we would see that. So that's why I thought that I'm like, so that was another, in a way, fail for me.
Right.
Because after all these years, after 40 some years, you want to see the man's face before anything else happens.
Right.
I did like the fact that the whole town came together. They strap him on top of a car to take him down the road.
Yeah.
Now, I thought that, I thought
it's
that
like the Queen died.
Michael and Lori, I thought that, because they said in there, maybe I need to die in order for him to die. I don't think they even showed that part in the movie. I don't recall.
No, and that happens in trailers too.
Right.
So alternate scene or whatever.
Yeah. So they should have done that.
Yeah.
Does he need to die in order for, do I have to die in order for him to die? I thought that should have been put into the movie.
When they took him into the compactor, the mulcher, whatever the hell it was, the way it was shot at first, it looked like she was getting in there with him because I didn't know there was more room. I'm like, holy fuck, they're just gonna let her walk in this thing and get destroyed.
Lord, yeah.
Ew.
So
what the hell's wrong with these people?
I like the ending.
What if she tripped?
I like the ending of how everyone came together. Like, okay, Michael Myers is finally going to die.
Right.
Everyone, they have him strapped on a car like a freaking deer, and they go to the junkyard or whatever, and they put him in that machine. I thought
that was brutal.
I thought that it was going to be the same thing. In order for if he's got to die, maybe she does too. In order to bring this whole thing to an end.
Right.
The Laurie Strode, Michael Myers story comes to an end, and they both die in some form. Now, the part of him getting put in the machine, and all of a sudden he gets just crunched up, and the last part that is left over is the cap of his skull. This last part that pops out and then goes. So that was that. So I thought that there should have been more. There was no Michael Myers. There was no Michael, except for the part in the sewer. Yeah. And then the part that he gets in the fight with Laurie, and then the part where he dies for the most part.
Yeah.
Other than that, there was no traditional Michael Myers badass killing for the most part.
Yeah, because it was Corey.
It was Corey doing it.
Michael really didn't do anything except for the nurse, probably. I mean, but he did like the classic kill he did in '78 with Bob. What's his name?
Against and then he kind of did the little. Yeah. So you have that, but overall,
he's not doing
much. And
I do like the youthful energy of Corey as Michael. Like, that was cool. I mean, his kills were really cool.
His kills were cool. Yeah. But
the blowtorch?
Yeah.
That was, whoa.
Yeah.
That was, holy shit.
And that's something that probably like a Michael Myers would do.
Yeah. True.
But that's something that Michael Myers should have done.
Yeah.
It shouldn't have been the kid.
Yeah.
So if you're going to have a off-brand Michael, then that could be, in a separate thing.
If Michael's doing the killings for the whole movie, like you were saying, and Corey is kind of like, here's bad people, and then you can't really turn them off, and then maybe Corey's like, I got to defeat him or something, and maybe that's when they have that showdown at the salvage yard, and then you get to see all those cool kills still, but it's not Corey. Like, Corey can still be redeemed in a way, I guess, but I don't know. I mean, yeah, it
could have been like
it's its own film, really. It's
right. It is.
It's just him turning.
It's kind of the cheesy part where you had Freddy's dead, and you had like those little itty bitty sperm looking spirits come out when Freddy got blown up.
Yeah.
Or like when in Jason's Dead, when that little itty swarmy looking thing goes inside that guy and he becomes Jason.
Right.
And so I guess they could have done something like that, more of a supernatural type of thing.
Right.
And
I get why they didn't want to do that, but
I get that. But
then why even go there? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, why didn't you just keep it real? Like, keep it mysterious. Like, I don't know.
He was only Michael Myers himself for maybe a few hours out of that entire movie. Right. Maybe a day if you go movie wise, and then he ends up trying to kill himself. So it just didn't make sense to me.
Right.
I think they should have started from the evening from kills.
Yeah.
And build from there. They have the whole town probably going nuts trying to find him.
Which sucks because all those like classic characters they brought back didn't really do shit. They just died. Like
They died.
even the sheriff from the first one, whose daughter died, was like the first. Was she the first victim? She was one of the
first. She was one of the first victims.
Okay. I mean, I still wanted to like somehow write up a scene. I just envisioned him and Lori having while she's recovering, he would talk with her, visit her with her. We never got anything. Like, you're bringing back this veteran actor and you're not going to really use him much.
They could have had her in the hospital and maybe she's like laying there going like, where's Michael? We don't know. We're trying to find him. We don't know where he went.
Right.
We have everyone on the town trying to find him.
Right.
You know,
and maybe like a thank you for being a good friend of my daughter. Some shit like that. Like that would have been really nice.
Yeah. So she's in the hospital recuperating.
Kind of just like.
And if it takes a little bit of time for her to get out of the hospital, cool.
Yeah.
You know, but they're also, on the manhunt for Michael.
Yeah.
And then maybe instead of her staying in the hospital for so long, she takes herself out and she like, I'd have to go find him because in order for him to die, I might have to do it myself. I might have to go with him, something, go build from there and then go back home where he would find her. Have the final battle. Yeah. If she wins, she wins. That's where he gets stabbed in the hand and slit his arteries and stuff like that. There's the final battle right there. Yeah. And then you put him on top of the car, and then everyone's like, he's here. We got him. Yeah. And let's go, finish this son of a bitch off. And the whole town comes together and kills him off. That's probably what they should have done. Again, I'm not a movie director. I'm not a movie maker. It's just something that kind of pops in the mind that probably could have happened. Yeah. And I don't know if they rushed this because when did Kills come out? I forgot.
Last year.
Yeah. Okay. So I think in a way they could have taken a little more time to build this.
Yeah, because I think when 2018 was announced or was coming out, they went ahead and greenlit. Actually, you remember them greenlighting the sequel and then showing you the title for the third one? Like they had all these three. Yeah. I was like, holy shit, I didn't expect 2 more sequels to this. Yeah. And so, it was a lot to kind of like, it was a big buildup, really. And,
so, I mean, if that was the case, you can have, Halloween and then you have Halloween Kills Soul, you have the second part. Yeah. So basically you have all 3 of those kind of jumping off each other, and ending that way.
Right. So it'd be interesting to know if COVID, I know COVID, put a stop to a lot of things. I know they were filming this last February, but had COVID not hit, would we have gotten a different conclusion?
It's possible.
I think we would have.
We don't know, but it's possible. No. It probably could have taken a little more time to do it.
Yeah. I mean, this Corey character's, like I said, if it was like its own film, Michael's been gone.
And he wasn't a bad character. I just don't think that it was a fit for this for this ending. Right. For this end of an era.
Why would Michael, and that's the other, there's so many questions. Why would Michael just leave for 3 years? Like, he looked fine at the end of the last film. He was back home. Yeah. What happened there? And wow, people in that town can't look for anybody worth a shit, can they?
I guess not.
It's like right there.
Well,
there's a McDonald's outside.
I guess who's going to go check a sewer,
I guess.
Did he go straight to the sewer after that? Because at the end of Kills, he's staying at the edge of the window. His shadow's right there. Yeah, and his niece is on the ground bleeding. Yeah, and so how did he get out? Where did he go? How did how did that go from him leaving the window? He must have flown out the window or something like that, and he ends up in a sewer for 3-4 years.
Well, and
don't understand it.
Before Corey got his neck snapped by Michael, I don't know if it's when Michael grabs the mask or if he's going after Lori, but I almost read that as Corey came back from the dark and maybe was trying to help Lori with Michael. I don't know. Did you pick up on that at all? Did you think that might have been why he was struggling so much with Michael? Because I think he grabbed Michael's leg when Michael grabbed the mask. It wasn't just like right away he was fighting for his life. He was like trying to hold Michael back. And I almost felt, because he lost a lot of blood, right? Yep. So it's kind of like, did the evil kind of pour out of him? And he was like, okay, I'm a good person now. I'm going to bring him, I'm going to try and keep him back. Like, I don't know. Like, again, you could read so much into this movie.
Yeah, you can. Parts. You can speculate what was trying to go on. But, right. Yeah, it's just...
But another thing they could do, where did Corey's body go? If he's the new Michael...
I don't think they really showed that.
He just was laying there, and then they I'm sure Service Master came in and cleaned up things after they took Michael away. But it's like all this attention on Michael, like Corey should have came with him.
Probably
A twofer.
Yeah. Once he said to say, I don't think they showed him anymore. Maybe. Oh well, the only time they did that was when her granddaughter came in. He's like, "What did you do?" Mm-hmm. And then she runs out and leaves her, and then comes back and says, after she had already slit Michael's throat and his wrists, "I'm not going to let you do this by yourself." Right. And then, we never
saw connected the dots because that radio station was burning. And that was kind of a cool little pickup, was when she was driving in the station and was like flickering or whatever. It's like, because his tongue was like hitting the record. That was brutal as hell.
It was kind of funny though.
And if you notice, the first one's the only one that's not gory. It's all in your head what he does. Like you see him stab people, but there's like no blood, I don't think. Probably because they didn't have the budget really. But then after that, they went full blood, especially this trilogy.
Literally.
Like, this trilogy is fucking grotesque. Like some of the shit they've shown, like, oof. I mean, Michael's body is like hamburger meat at the end of this movie.
I don't think it's even hamburger meat.
Well, no. Well, it came out somewhere. You watch, Town's going to eat the meat, and they're going to become Michael. A bunch of little Michaels. Yep. They're going to find a way. It'll be interesting, if the new creators, they pick up, if these current ones are going to executive produce the next films. I mean, I know they said it's over, but, studios, of course, it's Blumhouse. Blumhouse is pretty smart with their decisions, so maybe that's why they're like, let's just do 3 movies, we're done. And then whoever else wants to do it down the road. And like I said, The Exorcist is coming. They're going to focus on that.
If they do,
creative team.
I don't think it's going to be this massive thing. It might be like maybe a Netflix movie or something to that nature.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. You don't want it to go
cheap budget, probably.
Yeah, you don't want it to go back the way it was. Even though some aspects of those films are enjoyable, the cheesiness of it and all. But I really applaud Halloween 3 because they thought they could maybe do an anthology set of films had that worked.
Right.
I kind of think they should try that again. We'll see if they do, but there's a lot of nods to 3, including the title credits. I don't know if you noticed, but the title credits in this are blue, different from the first 2 films, and that's an homage to Halloween 3 credit color.
Okay.
So there's a lot of cool, because I kind of picked up on them. Like, I don't remember the credits being blue. Kind of weird, them being blue like that, but there's a lot of cool Easter eggs to 3, and I think they should, remake that one. I think that was interesting. It actually, I think it holds up more and more, people say. It definitely was far out idea.
Yeah.
The whole robot thing.
They're going to do a season of the witch.
Yeah. Maybe actually put a witch in it.
Maybe put a witch in it instead of like robotic looking dude.
That way you still got the Halloween name and you just, have a new antagonist or whatever. But Laurie keeps the mask in the end. I don't know what the hell that means.
Yeah, it's like
after all this shit, gonna keep the mask?
Yeah. Probably using it, keeping it as a memento of, what she had to go through for 40 years, maybe.
I guess. Jesus. Right. Yeah. So,
maybe, I think maybe if no one else wears a mask, maybe there won't be any other evildoers, because when that Corey kid put the mask on, that's when he started doing all the killing.
Yeah.
So if no one else wears a mask, maybe there'll be no more of the Michael Myers evil, in their town ever again or whatever.
Right. And then Allison left town.
She left town.
Poor girl. She lost both her parents. I mean, her mom's killing was so like shoehorned in that last film.
Yeah.
Like it could have just ended. I don't know.
I think they could have waited till, if they were going to kill her, they should have waited till this one.
Yeah.
Maybe. That's why I said they should do the jumping off from, even if they did kill her in the last one, fine. But still, use the same kind of story from that and just build on from there. I think that's where they messed up. Instead of waiting, doing a future, 3-4 year down the road,
right?
Thing. So
because it is jarring. This film picks up years later, and it's definitely a departure from the first one in many ways, especially with Corey. Yeah, focusing on Corey, but. Yeah, I didn't mind Corey, the character Corey. They sped up the romance. I thought that should have been something that over time,
they're gonna call it, and they should have said like, maybe the death of Michael Myers, the birth of Corey, or something like that.
Something like that, yeah. or like a twist at the end, you know, like Willie won't he, and then he turns, and you're like, oh shit! But they want to just end it. I get it. So yeah, so clearly it looks like Lori's gotten back with the sheriff. That's nice. Which I'm like, why? I thought they reconnected in the second one. Why would they? Whatever.
Maybe she can actually
Drama.
live without fear. She can actually like enjoy life and not, you know, she can, you know, maybe show her tits to the sheriff and, you know, without having to, you know.
Well, that supermarket scene, I'm like, are we going to get a sex scene with these old people in this one? Like, okay.
Hey, you never know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Go out with a bang, literally.
They both die of a heart attack. No. Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see if they kind of set it up in a way, but it's very supernatural at this point. At least the original films try to explain, and they got into some crazy shit.
Yep.
But yeah, it's I don't know, the trilogy overall, yeah, it's decent, I think. I think we've certainly had worse. Like, I haven't even seen the zombie ones, but I don't want to. I don't like his direction.
I saw part of the first one, but I couldn't get into it. So
his direction is just too jarring for me, and his choices. I just so I definitely will take this over that.
Yeah.
But yeah, original's still the best, I think. But yeah, it was decent. It wasn't scary. I don't know if the first one was really scary either.
It was more. This one was a little more confusing than anything else. And some parts were kind of funny, like especially when the whole tongue thing on the record and everything else. But
yeah, like it had fun kills.
It had fun kills. But
the girl with the fence.
Yeah.
Jesus.
So I mean,
the blowtorch.
Yeah. So I mean, you had those, but you know, it's more of almost comedic than it was. You know.
Right.
A horror movie.
But like all this took place in 3 days time.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? Like he got picked on and killed, resurrected sort of as a psycho in like 3 days.
Yep.
Like,
I guess Michael can do that to you, I guess.
Jesus, I know, but it's like, fuck.
It's like a vampire. You know, you get bit and you turn within a matter of, you know, hours or whatever, and you're out killing people.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So see if they pick up.
And then you die.
For Haddonfield. Yeah. I guess they could have just moved away. But yeah, that last victim survived. That's crazy. The lady from the second one got her throat stabbed. But yeah, I don't know. Are you done with Halloween at this point?
Am I done with Halloween at this point as far as like any more movies or?
Yeah, like you think this is good enough?
This is good enough. Let's
move on.
Everything's got to come to an end at some point.
Right.
Now, when we're, you know, old and grayer.
Michael comes back when he's 100.
Yeah. That he somehow reforms out of that machine and all of his meaty muscles and everything else all form back together. And
Michael X.
They did it with Jason, so why not have
Michael's going to space.
Yep.
Nice.
Myers in space.
Yes. Well, yeah, everyone out there, hopefully most of you seen the film to listen to these spoilers, but yeah, let us know in the comments what you thought of the film and what you took away from it. I don't know. I'm still digesting all of it, but in a good way, kind of. Like, it felt like it was crafted well. It maybe just needed a few more scenes to explain, or maybe not give us so much that you'd have to explain.
Yeah.
But yeah,
it wasn't a bad movie. It just could have been done a little bit different than probably what everyone probably thought it probably could have been. So
yeah, exactly. So, well, yeah, thanks for coming on and doing this.
No problem.
Too bad we didn't review the first one together. But it's been a treat, though, this trilogy, really.
Yeah,
because
I mean, I never thought that once those other ones were done, that it was going to come back. But maybe, you know, this was, you know, Jamie Lee Curtis, you know, maybe the Halloween franchises need a closure in some form. And
a better closure for sure.
Yeah. And that's just the way to do it. So
Right. Yeah. I can't really complain. But yeah, I mean, obviously it could have been better, but it is what it is. But yeah, I'll probably pick up this trilogy, I imagine, sometime. But yeah, go out and see it, or see it on Peacock, whatever.
Enjoy.
Happy Halloween. I'm Josh.
I'm Billy.
Take care.
See ya.
R.I.P. Corey. Or is it?
To be continued.
There you go.